All right, now to give us more insights in terms of what, of course, is happening, we're being joined by Mr. David Littman, who's a senior analyst at the Media Monitoring Organization. Now, Mr. Littman is, in fact, joining us live from Boston. Now, Mr. Littman, this is a case that has sparked outrage across the world. Joe Biden said that he was heartbroken when he heard of the fact that 7 of these humanitarian aid workers were killed in an airstrike by the Israelis. Now, the question that I want to ask you is this. Now, humanitarian aid work in the Gaza Strip is conducted in coordination with the IDF. So the Israeli Defense Force knows as to who is in a humanitarian aid convoy and what is being transported. With that being the case, how is it that this convoy was struck by drones not once, not twice, but 3 times, resulting in these deaths?
Well, as the Israeli investigation has so far determined, it was a mistake that was made by a number of soldiers and commanders who did not follow the proper procedure, but had earnestly believed that they had seen Hamas terrorists on top of the aid trucks and believed that they were continuing with the aid trucks after they had departed the prior location that they had been located. Now, in a situation like this, yes, Israel knows much of the aid that is going in, but once it enters Gaza, you have to keep in mind that the aid convoys are not just coordinated with Israel. They are coordinated with Hamas, which is in control of many parts of Gaza still today. And
convoys are
Hamas,
coordinated, not just... Mr. Littman, let me in fact interrupt you there. Now, it's common sense here. Now, when you say that some of your Israeli soldiers did not follow procedure, the question is this. Now, the IDF, that is the Israeli soldiers, know what is in that aid truck, who is driving it, who is present in that aid truck, and what is being transported. And when those 3 drone strikes actually targeted the 3 cars in the convoy, they were precision strikes. So the IDF was clearly aware of every individual in those cars and what was being transported. How is there any room for error here?
I don't think that's an accurate statement to make, simply because you are suggesting that the convoy has been under observation at every second and had a view of the convoy at every second when it did stop at least one compound. Now, I don't know all the details. I don't think anyone knows all the details yet, except perhaps those who are investigating it. But it is a fact of the matter that war, and in a situation of a war in an environment like Gaza, it's very chaotic. And nobody can know exactly what happened, how these mistakes were made. That's why we need an investigation and why Israel is carrying out this investigation. It appears to understand...
do you also recognize the kind of comments that are now coming forth? Now, Jose Andres, the celebrity chef and the founder of this charity, World Central Kitchen, he said that Israel cannot be investigating a mistake, an error that it has committed. The Australian President, Prime Minister Anthony Albanese, went on to state that the explanation that is coming forth from the Israeli side is just simply inadequate to explain the scale of what has happened. Because this explanation that is being put out by the IDF simply seems to not be convincing people of what has actually happened in this extremely tragic case.
I think the suggestion that Israel cannot investigate its own mistakes in a war is something that is a completely separate standard from how the laws of armed conflict actually work.
Do you think there should be an independent investigation?
If there is an investigation that the IDF invites in, sure. The problem is how an
independent investigation, not an investigation by the IDF, but an independent investigation that establishes the facts.
If there is a truly independent investigation, I see no problem with that. My concern is that what we tend to call independent investigations are the likes that we see at the United Nations, which are run by people with histories of, for example, saying that the Jewish lobby controls the United States. So if there is to be an independent investigation...
You're making a very strong allegation against the United Nations. The United Nations, you're saying, cannot carry out an independent and a fair investigation into an act of, many would say, a war crime like this.
Yes, I am absolutely saying that the UN has a documented history of its investigations into Israel, hiring people that are clearly not impartial. people that have histories of clear anti-Semitism, people like Francesca Albanese, people like Maïloun Qatari, people like Navi Pillay. These are people who have histories of anti-Semitic statements, histories of calling to punish Israel for this, for that, before they even have the facts. And so, yes, I am saying that the United Nations has proven itself to be incapable of forming a truly independent investigation.
All right.
Now, I'm not familiar with how Australia, how they perceive a proper investigation.
Australia is a close ally of Israel, Mr. Littman. I'm afraid we are completely out of time, but this is something, an incident that will be looked into and that will be talked about for a long time to come. And one, of course, expects that a thorough and an independent investigation, of course, establishes the facts in this case. Thank you very much indeed for joining us live from Boston. For all the latest news, download the WION app and subscribe to our YouTube channel.